Welcome to the channel. I've built a few built-in niches before. I built a medicine cabinet and a wall niche or two, and today I'm going to show you how I built a wall niche. You see these often in hallways or in bathrooms. They fit within a stud cavity in a non-bearing wall. They can be 4 full inches deep because you've got 3.5 inches in the depth of the stud and another 1/2 inch in the drywall. So they can be 4 inches deep and become very useful shelves as a built-in. They have a nice finished appearance. The ones that I've built have been made out of 3/4 inch poplar because it takes paint so well. And I've got a parts list here. If you're interested in building this exact niche, I would just take a screenshot of that previous screen that showed every part. It calls them all out by name and by dimension. Here's a little SketchUp animation to show you how I built it, and I'll call out the parts as I do that. Again, you can see that the cabinet is a full 4 inches deep, and it has a nice flat face where that crown piece and the apron at the bottom cover quite a bit of the sheetrock that surrounds the hole, so that when you make cuts in the sheetrock to remove a stud that might be in the way and to just solidify the sheetrock around the opening, you're able to drive screws in and they're all covered by the niche. So it starts really with a top and a bottom. These pieces are 5.5 inches deep. 4 inches go into the wall, and the other 1.5 inches will be taken up in the stool and the width of the stile. So there's a cutout, and then there's also an 1/8 inch rabbet in the back I just showed there, which accepts a 1/8 inch masonite backing. Masonite, by the way, is a great material to use with painted woodwork because it takes paint very well, just like the poplar, and you get a very even paint job. These are the two sides. They're 28 inches tall. They're 4 inches deep. And again, they have that 1/8 inch rabbet because they're going to accept this 1/8 inch masonite piece. And I'll just slide that into place here so you can get an idea how that just tucks in there. Back around to the front of the cabinet, the shelf is just a piece of 3/4 inch poplar, simply cut to the width of the opening. It fits simply butt joint on the inside, and I fasten that through the side panel using a couple screws on each side right there. The sides are also attached to the top and bottom the same way with screws because all of those screws will be hidden by the wall cavity. The next is the apron, and again, the apron helps to cover the scar that you might put in the wall when you are removing a stud, and I'll be showing you that in a moment. So that apron just fits under there, fits under that stool, and the proportions are everything in this, and you want that stool to stick out the same dimension that it is thick. So it's proud of the apron by 3/4 inch. It's also proud of the apron left and right by 3/4 inch. The two stiles that I just placed rest on top of the stool. And again, proportions are everything. Again, that stool piece, the ear, you could call it, sticks out 3/4 inch from the side of the stile, and it's proud on the front 3/4 inch from the face of the stile. The header is the same size as the apron, and it is situated on that top piece the same way the apron was situated on the bottom piece. They're just basically upside down. And then finally, the crown piece, which again sits about 1/4 inch proud of the top on each side and 1/4 of an inch farther forward than the top in the front. And it's made out of 5/4 material because, again, proportions are everything, and you want the crown to be heavier than the body of the trim. So there's the finished product, just to give you an idea what that looks like as a whole. Here it is, just placed in a wall similar to the way it is placed in my house, just to show it to you in more of a three-dimensional aspect. Here again, I'm just going to take another little shot of this just in case you want to kind of take notes on these parts. I'm just labeling them here. There are two sides, two styles. The top and bottom are identical. The apron and the header are identical. And the crown piece is 5/4 material. The back again is 1/8 inch masonite. Fits into this recess. You can see just 1/8 inch rabbets. Here's a little animation again showing just sort of a finished product as it pieces together. Now I want to talk about how you cut this into the wall, because inevitably, with the design of this one at least, if it's any wider than 14.5 inches, you're going to intercept a stud. But in a non-bearing wall, it is really not very difficult to just take the stud out of the way, frame in the opening that you need to fit the niche, and you can do all of it through the opening that you cut that fits the size of the niche. So here I've just animated opening up that hole, a rectangle the size of the niche. I'm removing that and I'm showing you that, look, a stud ended up right in the way. Now you can see there's a cut line in the sheetrock 1.5 inches below and 1.5 inches above the opening in the sheetrock. This is where you need to cut that stud. Again, the beauty of the design with the crown and the apron is that you can plunge your Sawzall blade right through the sheetrock and cut the top and bottom of that 2x4 1.5 inches inside the hole, and these cuts will not show because the apron and the crown will cover the cuts. Once you've done that and then carefully sawn the screws or the nails off of the back of that stud so as not to damage the sheetrock on the other side of the wall, it's time now to put in some blocking that will support the framing that you're going to do to surround that hole. I usually do this with a level. I press the level up against where I have cut the stud, and I simply drag that level across and make some marks on the stud to the left and to the right of the hole. I make some marks just with a pencil. I do it left and right on the top. I do it also left and right on the bottom, again using the level so that when we put the pieces back into this hole to complete the frame on all four sides, they're nice and plumb and square and level. So once you've got those marks, you can see that there's 4 of them because you've got studs now that are, instead of 16 on center, you've got studs that are 32 on center, and you've got to fill that back in now with some framing. So once you've made those marks, I'm going to remove this wall to just let you see what you'll see as you're reaching in through that hole. There's that level again. You can see the mark on that stud. I simply then just get a 2x4, any old 2x4, cut some maybe 6-inch blocks, and you can reach through the hole in the sheetrock that you've cut and simply shoot those blocks into the studs on the left and right of the opening, either using a nail gun or just screws. And here's the blocks going in. Now once those are in, you cut your top and bottom 2x4, and all you really simply do now is rest it on the cut stud and on the 2 blocks. I've done this with pocket screws so that I can just reach in with my screw gun left and right and screw that top and bottom piece of framing into place. We're almost done. Then you just put your left and your right hand piece in, again with pocket screws. If you're afraid those will shift on you as you're screwing them down, you can, before you put those 2 in, put another small block or 4 small blocks on top of the stud. Here I'm showing just as if I were putting a block there. And you could nail that down so that when you put this left and right hand framing piece in, you've got something solid to rest it against. Once you've done that, you've framed your opening. I'll put the sheetrock back on here in the animation, and you'll see we have a complete opening that is custom cut to the size of your niche with strong framing on all 4 sides. I simply used finished screws left and right through the wall of the niche to hold it into place. So here's that animation of the niche in SketchUp, and here's the niche in real life. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.